All right, my clock says 10 o'clock, so we are going to go ahead and get started. Housekeeping items, please make sure you enter your name and county into the chat. If you have any questions, you can go ahead and write those in the chat as well. Or if there's a good spot to unmute, you can unmute and ask questions as well. I will try and monitor the chat. It's good to see you all, even though I'm not really seeing you. I'm just seeing names to have you here. I feel like I've missed you all lately. Anyway, today's in service will be about children's health, and it is by Susannah Woodbury. Susannah Woodbury is a community health and wellness intern at the Extension Office in Davis County. She's currently studying health education and promotion at Utah State University, and she'll graduate this spring with her degree. She is a Kaysville, Utah native, and she loves to spend time outdoors doing things like backpacking, skiing, fishing, and rock climbing in her free time. So Susannah, we're excited to have you, and thank you for presenting our intern or our in-service, and we'll turn the time over to you.
Great, thank you, Marcia. I'm really excited to be giving this training today. I'm really passionate about children's health, and so I'm excited, but please feel free to ask any questions. I'd love to hear your input. I know you guys do a lot with teaching children, so I'd love to hear some feedback from you guys and your experiences. So in the textbook, Principles and Foundations of Health and Health Promotion and Education, it says it is easier and more effective to establish healthy behaviors in childhood than it is to change unhealthy behaviors in adulthood. So this is the goal for promoting children's health. We want to have a thriving and healthy population of adults in the future. We don't want our kids to look back and think that we have failed them. So here are some statistics. In the age group 2 to 4, 31.8% of children are considered overweight, and 16.9% of these children are obese. 19.2% of boys and 16.2% of girls have hypertension. These numbers are predicted to get worse if we don't step in and teach and guide children to have healthy eating and exercise habits. So let's talk about nutrition. So children need a well-balanced variety of nutrient-dense food. This is necessary for proper growth and development. So here I have a picture of my plate. I know you guys use my plate a lot, so I don't need to go over it too much. But yep, those are all the different food groups that we need, and children also need the same food groups that we need as adults. So here's an example of what a daily nutritional guideline would be for kids ages 2 to 4. They don't have to get exactly these amounts, but this is a good general amount. It also depends on their growth and activity level. This is more exact, but it's an easier way to use the image of my plate shown in the previous slide. My plate has a great visual element, so it's easier to visualize what it means to have a well-balanced diet. I got this slide from mayoclinic.org. I don't expect you guys to read all of it, but it just has a good general view of the amounts that kids need. Okay, and then here are some tips on feeding children. The first one is to give them a wide variety of color, texture, and taste. Variety is key. Don't fall into the trap of feeding your kids only kid foods, such as mac and cheese. They need variety so their body can get the vitamins and minerals that it needs. Limit screen use or other distractions. Screen use can be distracting and can cause children to not eat and be in the moment with their food, which is very important. And then number 3, don't give them foods that are heavily buttered, spiced, or sweetened. It's good for kids to know what the natural taste of food is. And then number 4, don't force children to eat at certain times. That one I will discuss later in the presentation, the importance of this. And then let's talk about intuitive eating. So children are naturally good at intuitive eating. They can regulate their food intake from day to day, which I think is interesting. It's the parent's responsibility to provide the food and the kid's job to eat what their body needs. So as adults, we don't have to think that it's our responsibility to like force them to eat certain amounts because they naturally know. We need to teach them about what hunger and fullness cues are. Some examples of hunger cues are low energy, rumbling or hurting tummy, shakiness, headache, tiredness. Our fullness is regulated by the hypothalamus that receives signals that we've had enough to eat. It's just like when the body sends us signals of when we need to use the restroom. We need to teach kids what this is like instead of forcing them to eat certain foods in amounts. These type of behaviors are what fuels a future in possible participation in diet culture and eating disorders in their future life. Because if you think about it, that when babies are born, you don't force them to nurse or to drink their milk. They drink when they're hungry, they'll cry, and then when they're full, they stop. So a lot of the time, it's the way that we teach kids that gets them to not be able to trust their bodies. So it's really important that when they're young, we start helping them have these habits of trusting and listening to their bodies. And then, so now let's talk about experience. So we need to teach children to be mindful with their food. So today, a lot of people are disconnected from their food. So it's very important to teach children to be involved in their eating experiences. This will allow them to be better intuitive eating and to have a better relationship with food. We can grow fruit and vegetables together, which we'll go more over that in the next couple slides. And then let them help you prepare meals and snacks. Definitely this is based on how old they are, what they're capable of, their maturity level, but it's good to get them in the process and getting them excited about the food. And then teach them that food is our friend and not an enemy. It's not good to demonize food because it teaches children to have that bad relationship with food and feel like they can't trust themselves, and yeah. Okay, so now we're going to do a little activity, snack time. So I'll give everybody about a minute or so to go and grab some type of food. It can be a piece of chocolate, a carrot, an almond, whatever it is. And then we're going to do a little activity. So don't eat it yet, but yeah, I'll give you about a minute to go and grab something. Okay, hopefully that was enough time for you guys to find something from your kitchen. So we're going to practice mindful eating. We should work on this ourselves before we're trying to teach it to kids. Today, a lot of people are in a rush, right? Rushing to work, rushing to activities, whatever it may be. But it is important to take time to eat our meals and to be mindful about it and not always watching TV or having other distractions while we eat. So everyone take the piece of food, whatever you chose. I chose just a little Reese's Pieces. So hold it in your hands and notice the weight of it. How does it feel? Put it between your fingers. And what color is it? Now hold it up to your nose and smell it. What does it smell like? Now we're going to put it into our mouth, but don't eat it yet. Just put it into your mouth and let it kind of sit on your tongue. Notice how it feels. And then when you're ready, slowly chew and swallow it. This is just a little example of really thinking about the food that you're eating. How does it make your body feel? What does it taste like? And enjoy the experience. So how, if I could have somebody share, how do you think that this experience of being more mindful with your food can affect your relationship with food and the way that you eat your food? Does anybody have something to share?
I feel like you'll eat more present. You'll stop when you're full. You won't mindlessly eat. You won't overeat because you'll be conscious with what you're eating, and you'll notice those feelings of fullness or satisfaction, I guess.
Definitely. Thank you for sharing. I agree.
Yeah, I was going to say kind of what Kara said, and I love that because oftentimes, I think to my eating habits or whatever, if I'm stressed and I feel like I need chocolate, say, I can eat like a whole bunch of chocolate, and then all of a sudden I'm like, where did all those chocolates go? Or if I really take my time and really enjoy that one piece of chocolate, it's usually enough of satisfaction for me. So a lot of it depends on your mindset and your experience behind it.
Thank you. I agree with that, definitely. Anybody else want to share?
If I can piggyback off of Marsha, that's really funny. So my husband and I, we were eating peanut butter M&Ms the other day, and we're candy lovers. So usually, we have our fair share of candy. But what we've been doing lately is that we've been like slowly cracking the M&M in our mouth and like melting it in our mouth. And it's kind of funny. He noticed, he's like, these are really rich. I'm actually not sure if I really like these. So taking the time to kind of be mindful about it, what he's actually eating, he discovered that it's not actually as good as it either once was or what he thought. So it actually, just kind of was an aha moment for him.
That's awesome.
You also have a few responses in the chat. Mariana said it slows down the eating time, which is kind of funny because my dad used to give us a jelly bean when we were driving in a long trip, and he'd say, let's have a contest to see who can keep the jelly bean in his mouth the longest. And I would always do that, and I could keep a jelly bean in my mouth for the longest time, and we'd have this contest and it would get super thin, but I think he did it just to make the jelly beans last longer so he could have more. Anyway, Cheryl said she enjoys the food more when she slows down. Kayla, I think you'll be more mindful about foods you enjoy eating and other foods you might eat more out of convenience than anything else. Laura said, doing this activity years ago made me realize how gross Hershey Kisses taste, and now I don't crave them.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing. I loved all your comments. I definitely agree. It can really enhance our experience with food and help us, be mindful. And I think it's so interesting. These Emma and the other person that shared about not actually liking the food sometimes. So it is important that we keep this in mind as we are eating and teaching our kids to eat. So thank you, everybody. So now we're gonna kind of switch over and talk about gardening and the importance that gardening can have as we garden with kids. So we're just gonna watch this video. This video comes from Sheridan Hansen. Oh, whoops. Let's see. Hope I can get it to work.
Okay, if you play.
Sorry, one second. Let me share it with the other screen. Can you guys see this video?
If you play your hand right.
Yes.
Okay.
We can.
Great. So yeah, as we watch this video, just think of the benefits that can come as we garden with kids.
Your kids could be putting food on the table this month. There are so many benefits when your kids grow a garden. Horticulturist Sheridan Hansen and her son Ian here with some buddies, some new met friends, are going to teach us, show us. They're on board with this idea of kids gardening. Sheridan, you put this into practice because the research is pretty impressive around this idea. It is really impressive. So if you can get your kids out in the garden with you, they are so much more likely to eat fresh fruits and vegetables. It's a great way for them to get some exercise, get away from the screen, get outside. Yeah. It's an awesome way to teach them about the earth, biology, science, all these wonderful things. And it gives them a great self-esteem boost and makes them feel like they can contribute to the food scene, home, to all of those different things. I've also been marveling today, dietitian Mickey Eberhardt cites a study often from Ohio State and Cornell University that kids are 5 times more likely to eat veggies if they actually grow the veggies. It is so true. And you want to get them doing that because it gets them trying new things that they maybe might be picky about, right? If you can get your kids doing it really early, the picky factor kind of goes down. Thank you. It's like they're in my head, on my heart. I need help in that area. Ian, tell me what you've been doing this year. What have you been busy doing in the garden?
So we have a partnership garden, and I've helped grow that. I've helped water it and plant it. I've also helped weed it and harvest it and also eat it.
Okay, is your mom so proud?
Yes.
Let me look at her. I bet she's smiling.
Yes.
Oh, she's smiling. She's grinning big. Have you had fun getting out there, getting your hands dirty and being part of it?
I love gardening. I like getting my hands dirty. It doesn't really bother me getting my hands
Doesn't bug you?
even if they're doing stuff.
You grew beets, I understand, and red peppers. What's the favorite thing that you grew? The favorite produce?
I love growing peas and watermelons.
Watermelon? You grew watermelon?
Yes.
That's amazing. Sheridan, what is the task for Ian today and his friends? We've got them busy. So they are all busy. They're all planting all kinds of things. Ian is going to make, instead of a fairy garden, he's going to do a boy take on it and do a gnome garden. So something kind of fun to go on the porch. Nice. These other cute kids that are helping us are potting up mums, strawberries, basil, all different kinds of things that you can get kids busy doing. It doesn't have to be something edible. It can be something that's pretty, that catches their eye. There are so many options. So when you say garden with kids, it can be anything. It doesn't have to be food related. It does not have to be food related, but we often try to get it food related so that we can get that eating factor in there. What's the best place to start? If someone out there is saying, I want to try this, what's a good beginner point? So number 1, don't be afraid to let your kids get dirty. Number 2, give them things that entice them out into the garden. Get tools that are age appropriate, gloves that fit their hands. Make sure that you're planting seeds that are easy for kids to hold on to with little fingers. So things like squashes and beans and peas. Wouldn't have thought of that. Yeah. And so also things that are colorful. So growing a cut flower garden is another way to get kids interested because they can cut the flowers, bring them inside, make an arrangement out of it, and you're taking it from start to finish. Kids might not realize, we heard Ian say, I like getting my hands dirty. I like getting out there. Kids might not realize how much work it takes. How do you overcome that? Right. So you have to kind of be by their side at first, and you have to help them a little bit, but you can also let them figure out things as they go. So know that there are going to be failures, and it's okay, that they're going to have to learn how to weed, and they're going to go out and see their little plot or their garden and say, oh my gosh, there's weeds. Yeah. Let them figure that out. And give them some guidance as much as needed that's age appropriate. So with my little kids, I'm much more involved as my kids have gotten older. They grow their full own garden plot. I am hands off and they do it themselves. Amazing. It's so much fun to see what they grow. You mentioned kind of the supervision. Obviously, there's some safety concerns. There are. I mean, some of our tools are sharp. Yeah. Sometimes we're dealing with, things in the soil that maybe we don't want our kids touching. Make sure that they have that appropriate supervision, that we're not sending them out there with big garden knives, things like that. Yeah. So make sure that you're there and watchful. And you mentioned the flower cut garden. I think that's maybe one idea of how to entice kids toward this idea. It is, and especially things like sunflowers, because you're going to get bees, you're going to get all kinds of pollinators there as well. So you're intermixing some of these ideas about biology. So that's a great way to get them out there. We have some other things to get them out there as well. So growing things that are that they like to eat, things that are colorful. So you can see the array of color. These are all things that came out of our garden last night. Beautiful. Popcorn. We've got stripes. Wow. Things like that. Fun things to grow. Having places for birds to come and visit will also entice your kids outside into the garden. We're always nose to the window. I know, right? Here? Right? It's such a fun thing. And then, getting things for kids to catch insects and learn about insects. So just having a jar and a magnifying glass that they can feel like a little tiny scientist and getting them a good net so that they can catch different things. It's so much fun to get them. I don't mean to step you back, but this popcorn is kind of a unique idea. Isn't that fun? How did you do that? So there are certain varieties that are made for just popcorn. you will plant and you'll grow that, and then you let it dry down. And then once it's dry, we can rub these together and we can harvest off each little kernel, and then you can air pop it. It's so much fun and it tastes so good. Amazing. And again, if they can eat it, they're going to be invested. Yeah. Let's circle back and see what Ian came up with over here. You've been busy. Look at you working fast and furious. Tell us what you did.
I added some ferns right here, and these are mini peppers. I added some nice little flowers, a little mushroom to go with the gnome kind of theme.
I love it.
Moss, like a little pathway, more flowers.
Look at you. Tell me what you do. So you take that plant out of the plastic container and then what?
Dig a little hole.
Yeah, oh, Phoebe knows.
And then I put it in.
Yep.
And I scoop the dirt, I place it around.
Good.
Make sure all the leaves are out and up.
Now I'm really going to test you. How do you know when to water it?
Um,
Daily? Is it a daily thing?
it's kind of like morning, maybe every morning and then every night-ish.
Look at those mini peppers, and I'm seeing some more miniature items over there. Those bunnies, are they going in?
Yes, they are going in.
Okay,
They're
Sheridan.
the final touches.
The final touches. Ian, I love it. Sheridan, where are you getting all these cute minis? So you can find all those cute mini things on Amazon. There's all kinds of things to order for fairy gardens. We picked up those mushrooms at Hobby Lobby. Nice. Just some fun, inexpensive things that you can put in to make it more magical for the kids. All right, Ian, I don't want to, here, I'm putting this back. I don't want to ruin your feng shui. You've got it going. You've got it going. How's it coming over here, Quinn? You're the dirt mover. Who needs a digger? We've got you. Are you having fun? Yeah? What are you doing over here?
Thing get in?
Dirt in. Dirt goes in, plants come out. That's the beauty of it, right?
Yes.
I think these are strawberries, right, Sheridan?
Strawberries.
Strawberries. Are you a strawberry lover?
Yes.
You are, oh good. I was gonna say you probably will be after today because you're working hard for it. You guys, great job. Sheridan, what, from the mom on the ground perspective, what's the best benefit that you think you see when you put Ian to work, get him out there, empower him to do this? What do you see from a mom perspective? I see him getting in touch with nature. I see him learning valuable skills that he can take with him through his whole life, that he'll be able to grow up, grow a garden, and he'll be able to make healthier food choices as well, because he knows what's healthy now. Yeah, he knows, he's experienced it firsthand. Absolutely. Thank you. Ian, thank you. Great job, friends. Thank you so much. This was so great. I'm empowered.
Okay, sorry, just 1 second. Okay, so just as a little, oh, did someone have something to say?
Nope, I was just saying, yep, we're back to your presentation.
Okay, great. Thank you. So yeah, just to kind of recap what Sheridan Hansen said, the benefits of gardening with children. They're 5 times as likely to eat vegetables and fruit. They get physical activity. They're learning about the environment. They're building self-confidence, and they're building critical thinking skills. So those are kind of 5 of the main points that she made. I think it's really important for kids to know where food is coming from. It's important for them to not think that food just appears, and I like how she said it takes hard work. They're learning to be out there, to be working hard, and then in turn that can help them enjoy their food more. So I know some of you in Create Better Health grow community gardens with families and kids. Does anybody have any experiences on whether it's in your own garden with your own kids or through Create Better Health that you guys have had? Any experiences that you've had that you've seen the benefits of this?
I'll share. We have a garden at the LaPointe Elementary School, and I find that the kids are so proud of the garden. There's a lot of pride at the school because of that. And when we do a corn crunch where all the kids come and get an ear of corn. It was actually quite shocking living in such a rural community, the kids that had never eaten an ear of corn. So that was rather eye-opening, but they're very proud of their school garden and they want to eat the produce that's grown there. So that's made a difference for our community.
That's awesome. Thank you. Anybody else have anything to share? If not, it's okay.
Hi, Emma. I have noticed when we've had them in our garden, in our community area, they seem to be drawn to the vegetables and fruits more because of the color and the texture, and something that they probably wouldn't eat normally from the refrigerator. For some reason, they reach out to when they're out in the garden. Like for example, peas in a pod, kids just adore those when they're in the garden. And sometimes when they're in the fridge, they don't even take a second look at them. So it's kind of interesting in how being outside and being amongst all that color and texture and having the pride like they were talking about goes into play with all that. So
Awesome, thank you. Anyone else? Okay, well, feel free to stop me if anyone has any other comments. I love what you guys said. I love that kids are more likely to eat the fruits and vegetables, and like you said, Laurie, some stuff they might not eat regularly out of your fridge when it's in the gardens. For some reason, they're excited about it. I love what the last person said about they're proud of what they've created, and I just think it's a great experience for kids to have. Okay, so now we're going to have a little pop quiz. So if everybody could grab a piece of paper and a pen, or you can use your phone, your notes, or you can even just do it in your head, but whatever you prefer. Just take a second and rate every one of these foods, 1 to 10, 1 being unhealthy and 10 being healthy. So I'll give you guys a minute or two to do that. Give you about 15 more seconds or so. Okay. Sorry, but you guys probably failed the quiz. Let's talk about what the word healthy actually means. I think these days we've taken it way out of context, healthy and unhealthy. So the simple definition of healthy is to promote good health. You could only eat, these are broccoli, spinach, or kale, or whatever you think is healthy for the rest of your life, and be very unhealthy physically, mentally, etc. Being healthy is much more than what we eat. Kids need to be taught how to eat in balance. If all we talk about are the traditionally healthy foods, they will be left to navigate what to do with foods with less nutritional value, such as cakes, cookies, etc. So, healthy versus unhealthy. Avoid or limit the words healthy and unhealthy. I know it's hard to, we don't have to completely take them out of our vocabulary, but it's just, I think, a good idea to recognize what we're meaning by these words. These words are often associated with the words good and bad, which oftentimes can cause people to start to feel that they are a good or a bad person for eating certain foods. What words can you guys think of that could be replaced with the word healthy? You guys have any ideas?
Sometimes, like a sometime food.
Awesome, thank you.
Nutritious or nourishing.
Great, yes. Yes, feel free if you have any other words, but I put also variety, satisfying, nutritional. Oh yeah, I guess you could say nourishing. These are just some other words that we can use. There is not one food that promotes health, but a variety of foods that we need to eat to keep our bodies healthy. When people, or in this case, kids, start to, I already talked about like the demonizing food, it can create an unhealthy relationship with food. Healthy looks different on all bodies. We're gonna switch gears here a little bit and talk about exercise now. Well, first of all, does anyone have any other comments on healthy versus unhealthy or anything so far that we've talked about?
I was just going to make a comment when you said healthy looks different on all bodies. One of my very favoriteest photos is a picture of Olympic athletes all next to each other, and you have like a tall basketball player next to a weightlifter, next to a sumo wrestler, next to a swimmer, and they're all different body shapes, and yet they are at the pinnacle of their athletic career and people we admire and look up to. And that is by far one of my favorite photos ever. I wish I could blow it up and put it everywhere so that everyone would start to realize that you can be healthy in any body and you can be athletic and strong and amazing, no matter how you look.
Thank you. I love that. I love seeing things like that where it's true. Every body is different. Today, there's kind of a societal, cultural standard of what a healthy or beautiful body should look like, but they're all different and we all require different amounts of food, different types of food. So I think that's really important. Thank you so much, Marcia. So yeah, we're going to talk about exercise for a little bit. Can anybody guess how many minutes a day a kid needs of exercise on average?
Everyone should be answering this. Come on. Oh, there we go. In the chat, we got people saying 60.
Okay, perfect. You guys got it. So yeah, they need about 60 minutes a day of aerobic exercise. It can be structured or non-structured activity. And then it's also encouraged that they do muscle strengthening activity 3 times per week. Some examples of muscle strengthening activities are jumping, bicycling, swimming, different things that are using the muscle. When kids are at a certain age, they can begin to do different weightlifting exercises, but especially when they're young, there are other things that they can do to strengthen their muscles. And then here are just some benefits of physical activity. Lower body fat, it decreases levels of diastolic and systolic blood pressure, stronger bones, improved cognition, lower risk for chronic disease, higher chance of being a healthy adult, and a higher academic performance. Another one I didn't add on there is it also allows kids to get some of that energy out that they have, and they can sometimes be a little bit more calm. Yeah, there are a lot of benefits to physical activity, and I think kids these days with all the technology and stuff, a lot of them just aren't hitting that 60-minute goal or more. So I think it's really important to show kids exercise and do it with them. Does anybody have any examples of different physical activity that you guys like to do with your kids or with other kids?
Maybe Emma, just playing together outside or doing a game, which makes it more fun than just, oh, let's go exercise, you know? So basically just making it, kids, I think, are just really awesome at exercising because they're constantly going. And us parents are just trying to keep up, or as grandmas, with them. So I think that they are really good at what they do anyway. So
Great, thank you. I like
Emma. Oh, sorry. Emma posted and said her daughter is really young, but they still love to do dance parties all the time. And dance parties all the time with her, literally running and dancing around the table, which is great. I know Christy and her family like to get on and do like the Wii games or the things that are the dance party ones too. My kids are older, and so we like to go play Frisbee or pickleball or anything like that, hiking.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Those are great things that you guys do. I think it was Laurie, I like what you said about not necessarily calling it exercise, but playing games and doing things that will get them excited to be moving their bodies. Okay, so now we're going to talk a little bit about advertising and how it kind of affects kids with their food preferences. So food and beverage companies spend about $2 billion a year on food marketing campaigns directed at children. That's a lot of money. It can highly impact a child's food preference, and children can actually develop food cravings for foods they have never tasted due to advertising. I think that's crazy to think that a kid, or even as adults, maybe if we've never tried a food and it's advertised and they make it look so delicious and enticing. It's really important to be cautious of this. I know we can't, have our kids not watch advertisements, and it's not necessarily always a bad thing, but it's just important to kind of keep in mind this concept. So now I'm going to show just a few commercials of companies and how they've used food to entice kids in kid-friendly ways. The first one that I chose is this Gushers commercial, because this is the one that really stood out to me when I was a kid. Now I'll never forget Gushers because I always thought, oh no, now my head's gonna explode if I eat a Gusher. So here's this.
Introducing new Fruitomic Punch Gushers with a taste that's gonna drive you crazy. It's very, very different and totally appealing. It's new Fruitomic Punch Gushers, the fruit snack bursting the juicy fruit punch in the middle. So fruity, they'll really turn your head.
Whoa, I'll say.
New Fruitomic Punch Gushers. The blast of fruit punch is gonna drive you totally fruity.
Man, I'm gonna split.
Choosing milk isn't just fun, it's also really good for you. And for even more fun, you can get apple slices and a mini minion of your very own. From the new movie Despicable Me 2, rated PG in your McDonald's Happy Meal.
Last one, Tricks.
New Wildberry Red. Wildberry Red. The fruity taste. Wildberry taste. Wildberry. All I want is to taste them. For breakfast, it's nutritious.
Billy Rabbit, tricks are for kids.
Tricks fruit-flavored cereal with new Wildberry Red Swirls.
So yeah, those are just some examples of how companies will use like, characters, such as this one has SpongeBob. They'll use all sorts of fun characters that kids love and get them to want to have food, because then when they go to the grocery store with their parents, they'll see that and they'll want to buy it, so that the companies will in turn make more money. So as parents, teachers, and adults, we have a huge influence on kids. Having just one physically active parent can have a positive impact on a girl's long-term participation in physical activity and overall health. A mother's view on her body highly impacts kids' body image, and modeling eating habits is imperative. Kids will look to us, and that's how they know what it's like to eat. That's why the principles that we talked about, such as intuitive eating, mindful eating, good exercise habits, things like that, this will really impact a kid's life and help them learn these healthy habits and grow up to be adults that now know what it's like to have a good relationship with food. This is the most important and effective thing that you can do. You can spend a lot of time talking to your kids about health and trying to teach them, but it's your example that's gonna do the most good for them. So that's pretty much everything I have for you guys today. Are there any questions or comments that anybody has that they want to share?
All right. Well, thank you, Susannah. We really appreciate you being on today and for presenting for us. Just a reminder, if you haven't put your name into the chat, make sure you do that for me before you log off real fast. But other than that, I think we can go. So have an awesome day and have a great rest of your work week.
Thank you, guys.